Okay, I think we're good. Hi, how you doing? In this video, we're going to be talking about how overcoming lust will change the average guy's life. And it's actually pretty insane. Alright, as always, it's going to be autistically specific because I am a very autistically specific guy. Anyways, bro, this is just so you know, I didn't clickbait you. This was a version of me in the past, and this is me now. Going on to the next point, I want you to understand this because it sets some expectation about the topic of lust. Anybody who says they've overcome lust 100%, they're under two categories. Alright, the first one is they're a damn liar. And number two, they might be a monk or a priest. But then again, think about it. Some of them have allegations of touching little kids. So take that as you will. Have they overcome their lust? Who knows? Now, next up, this video isn't going to be like any of the self-improvement videos you watch on lust or nofap, okay? I'm not going to tell you to go on monk mode. I'm not going to tell you to go on nofap. If what you really want to do right now is go out and talk to chicks, I'm also not going to talk in terms of religions in this video, okay? The only thing that's close to religion that I'm going to talk about is the 7 deadly sins, which it's not really religious. It's just me touching on the natural instincts and feelings that we all have. Because the thing is, bro, if I tell you to suppress your lust or go on to monk mode, meditate, journal, like standard advice, you're probably going to hit a point in time when you just explode, relapse, and then feel super guilty. And guess what? Lust is ruining my life. The next question that I do want to address is, Matt, how did you come up with this amazing video idea? Well, a lot of you guys leave comments like these on one of my posts and say that, you know, you've been struggling with lust, discipline, consistency, and then some of you guys come here for tips. Guess what? I'm probably not going to give you any tips. These are all my interpretation and my experience. So I'm not going to tell you what to do. These are things that has worked for me. They have helped me overcome lust in my own way. Like from the outside looking in, some people might be like, well, Matt, this video is on how to overcome lust, but technically you haven't overcome it. I've gotten to the point when it hasn't gone in my way. I don't look the way I used to look. I'm not at war with myself every single night, and I feel a lot better in my own damn skin. But yeah, bro, like going through the patterns, I do see that most of your lust problem lead back to a few things. Number one is just social skill, okay? For some reason, you lack social skill, and a lot of you guys, well, you're daydreaming and fantasizing. Of course, that's gonna lead you into thinking, well, because I do all of these things, lust must be a problem. Now, one of you guys, you're a fucking baller if you're 24 and you stand at 6'1", 8% body fat, and you got 1 M in the bank. Why is it a problem for you? Okay, is there a problem because you make it a problem? Which we're gonna talk a little bit about in a bit. And some of you guys say that lust is ruining your life. However, even though you know it's ruining your life, you keep going back to it. I'm gonna try to address these things in this video. Before we jump into the 3 main points that I do have for you, I'll tell you my experience with it. Alright, we're going to talk about where I've been before with, lust ruining my life, and then where we are now. Well, lust isn't so much of a big problem. But before, bro, I started to realize I want chicks. Like, I want them badly, and I wanted to go for it. I remember the first summer of 10th grade, I shot my shots with a girl I worked with at summer camp or something, and then she made me genuinely feel broken for the first time. And look at what she says here. I'm going to keep ignoring your calls. And this is how I look back then. I was a dork and I was pretty damn weird. All I did during those period of time was I cried a lot. I jerk off in the shower. I tell myself I have social anxiety because, hey, one girl said I was bad with girls, so technically I must be bad, right? So I kept finding evidence in my life to reinforce the idea that the life of loneliness is the life for me. Even though I didn't want it to be true, I did things that reinforce this reality. That situation with this chick made me feel as if I was not good enough. I was broken. Something about me was just not good enough. Of course, I was reading self-improvement books at around those time too. This was my last year of high school, 12th grade, when I actually got pretty deep into the books. Some of my favorite books, by the way: The Alchemist, How to Win Friends and Influence People, and so on. Moreover, up to a certain point, it hurt a lot. I wanted a way out. So I got myself back into the dating market. This was basically just last year, bro. I was like, I can't really get rid of this feeling of needing girls in my life, because I went 3 years without seeing anybody. And I was like, damn, that's why I need to get rid of, like, I just need to scratch that itch immediately now, right? So I transformed my body. I told myself at that time, even though I looked like shit, I was gonna go out and shoot my shot anyways to prove it to myself that no matter how I look, I don't have problems with people. I have great communication skill and I can be whoever I want to be. And somebody's gonna like me for it. And of course, early on, I didn't look the best. This was how I look. And then later on, this is me right now, as I said before. But my interaction with dating has gone a lot better. Like, I think this was earlier last year. When I started to lean down, I had a lot of, I'd say, dates line up. You can see here. Can you hurry and respond so I can sit on your lap? This was said by one of the girls back then. And at the same time, this was another girl who texted me. And over time, I got more comfortable with myself and with dating in general and with, my sexuality. Because believe it or not, bro, a lot of your problems with lust is from the idea that you can't get good with women. Like, if you take a minute to read all of their fucking responses to me, I used to think that I would never experience these things. All right. I come from the perspective that I look like this and I feel like shit about myself and have social anxiety. And to be bombarded with all of these stimuli from girls, it reinforced the idea that number one, I do have options. And number two, I am comfortable being who I am. Like, let's just go into some of the crazier thing they do or send to me. Number one, holy fuck, you're so hot. And then she goes on to say, I want your kids in me. And then this was when I had a lot of options and, I had to say that I don't have time for a lot of them. And well, this girl, at least, she sent me a picture of herself at the fucking gym. And you can, obviously see what she's doing. Yeah. It's just a lot of positive experience, man. Like, a lot of you guys who have never experienced this before, you won't even realize how much your life can change if you genuinely try. From older ladies who are into you to, girls reaching out to you on Instagram saying these things. P.S. bro, my lady friend here, this is what she sent me. All right, I'm not gonna read this. It's gonna make me cringe, but this just goes to say, some of the experience, bro, are fucking pretty nutty. I do want to say though, if you got a problem with lust and you've get to the point when you do have very positive experience, never forget where you come from. Like, even now, I don't have trouble as much as I used to before, but I remember being left on red for fucking, how many months is this, dude? This is back in March and this is November. That's like 9 months. And all of a sudden, they come back to me. They tell me, well, I miss you, Matt. Well, I'm sorry I played you, Matt. Forgive, but never forget, and just move on fast. All right? Now that you kind of understand that I know what I'm talking about when it comes to lust, coming from a guy who has nothing and building myself into a person who has pretty good experiences, I'll tell you this, lust, as far as any other 7 deadly sins, pride, sloth, wrath, greed, envy, gluttony, they're never a bad thing. Anything in excess, though, let's say you're a full-on angry person, or you're super greedy, you lack self-awareness, or you're too prideful to see your shortcoming, that's when it becomes, a detriment to your progression in life. But a lot of these things, man, they're like a sword. If you have lust and you see it as, damn, that's just stimulus about what I currently want. And if you use that stimulus correctly, it should act as motivation. It's just as greed or wrath. All of these emotions, they're very fucking powerful emotion, bro. Like with sloth, that just means laziness. You might think, well, being lazy is bad. Well, is it really? If you're a lazy person, you would always find a better way of doing something that's more efficient and time effective. So is sloth really bad? Like all the great inventions in the world, if you think about it, they were invented because somebody asked, there has to be a better way to do this that will save me a lot more time. With that understanding, know that none of these quote-unquote negative emotions or sins are actually sins. You might hear this and it's a very unpleasant truth and you might click off this video, but it's fine. All right. Understand, most of you won't make it to the end of this video because you rather think, hey, lust is bad, so let me look for a solution for it. But at the end of the day, bro, for me to give you a solution without addressing that there's nothing wrong with it, That's just me giving you comforting lies. That's what most self-improvement people like to give you, right? Just to make you feel good. Because wow, maybe it is a problem. So many people are struggling with it. But in reality, bro, you're only struggling with it. You're making it a big deal because you don't understand it. And as the picture right here, there's always a balance when it comes to these emotions or feelings. Anything in an excess will turn to poison, but with a good level of pride, gluttony, sloth, wrath, greed, envy, lust, it's gonna motivate you into chasing more, to becoming someone more. I think when I look like this, a big part of that was because I tried to run away from what I wanted out of life. You know, I rationalized I'm not good enough to attract girls. I'm not good enough to do well in life. And all the things that I want, bottom line, it's not socially acceptable. And I was very conflicted. Next up, I do want to give you two ideas, right? So number one is Maslow hierarchy of need. And then number two is called the Hegelian dialectic. But let's talk about the first point. What are we primed to do in life? All right. If you look at this pyramid, the most basic need that we have is breathing, food, water, sleep, homeostasis, excretion, which just means shitting. All of that just means survival. Outside of survival, we got sex. What does that mean? It means reproduction. We're primed to do two of these things. Bottom line, at the end of the day, it's a 50-50 split. All right, once you get out of survival mode, you're gonna look for reproduction needs. And guess where lust land on these two areas? It lands in reproduction. All right, can you see why there's nothing wrong with it? When somebody tells you there's something wrong with a certain feeling, most of the time, unless it's like negative feelings, even then there's nothing wrong with it too, right? Because if you're depressed, it just says that there's something entirely wrong about your life right now. It's not going to the direction you want it to be, so you can't help but feel depressed. But if you see that as a signal to change gear, to shift your life to a better direction, there's nothing wrong with it. Just as lust. If you feel lustful, go do something about it. Go get good with girls. That's gonna take a lot of fucking improvement, man. All right, beyond just my body, I've had to work so much on my mindset and other areas too, like finance, okay? So don't think of it as, oh yeah, it's just one thing. It's holistic. Next idea is the Hegelian dialectic. Going back to the, the liar part. Do you understand why somebody would like to tell you that lust is a problem? Well, because there's no problem with it, but then they create the problem and then they provide you a solution. When they create the solution, this is called a thesis, and they give you the solution, you trust them more. Guess what? You give up your ability to observe and think for yourself. Most of the self-improvement channel, what they're trying to do is fearmonger or play on some type of emotions you got. And then you become so sucked into their ideology that you can't think for yourself. My ideology is there's nothing wrong with you. All your emotional needs, nothing fundamentally wrong about it. If you believe in God, I said I wasn't gonna, say anything religious, but understand, God provided you everything that you need to succeed, okay? And any feeling that you feel, why would you let somebody else, made of flesh just as you, tell you that it's bad? Think about that. So let me go into the 3 solutions that I do have for you that has improved my relationship with lust a lot more and allow me to make a lot of progression in my life, whether that's fitness, whether that's dating, whether that's money, finance, whatever. Number 1 is, again, lust is never the problem. Just as if you exhibit any sign of the 7 deadly sins, they're never a fucking problem. The problem, at the end of the day, is you. You think all these emotions are the cost, but they're actually the tip of the iceberg. Most of it ties down to your self-esteem. If you feel a lack of self-worth, if you feel as if you can't do something, you're gonna seek an escape, right? And sometimes we use these things as our method of escape. When you can fix your self-esteem, when you stop waging war on yourself inside of your fucking head, you realize that you can use all these emotions, especially lust, to motivate you to get the things that you need. And number 2 is figure out how to build yourself back up. And I'm talking about self-esteem. Understand, bro, unless you're a girl that's watching this video, nobody is gonna come and save you. Okay, if you're a moderately good-looking girl who knows how to use makeup, who knows how to pose, and attract a good guy, you're set for life. for us guys, we're fucked. Like genuinely, if you don't work on yourself, bro, in 3 areas, that's your health. You gotta become, an apex of a man in terms of your looks. That's to some degree, obviously. And then you gotta build up some level of wealth, because wealth is power, okay? And then you gotta work on your social skill. This means relationship. This means having a group of friends. This means being able to attract the perfect mate. If you can understand nobody's coming to save you and you work on these 3 areas, up to a certain point, your life is going to improve so fucking much. A lot of you guys who quote unquote struggle with lust, guess what, man? You probably are missing a piece of the equation. Like that guy above who says, he's 6'1", he's 24, he's 8% body fat and got 1 M in the bank. Bro, you probably have 2 of these areas down. You probably got your health down. You probably got your wealth down too. Like 24, 1 million. Understand, you're ahead of a lot of guys your age. What you're lacking right now is probably some social skill. So get to it. What the fuck you want me to say? Also understand, when you choose to improve one area, chances are the other area will improve by a little bit too. Let me explain this. All of these things, right? You can work on it in any order you want. It's just what type of priority do you want to get rid of immediately. For me, at first it was relationship, then health, and then wealth. For you, it might be health, wealth, relationship, doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, when you have some mastery on each level, the other level will increase by itself. Over time, when you have a drastic mastery over these 3 categories, your life is just gonna fucking go up and up. And finally, number 3. I used to watch a lot of self-improvement videos, bro, and it came from the perspective that whatever I had inside of my mind is wrong. I fundamentally didn't believe in whatever I had within my mind. So I would listen blindly to all the people that I watched. And then sometimes I would find that some ideas would conflict with each other. Like some people would be like, oh yeah, just meditate. And then some other people will be like, oh yeah, just go outside and take a lot of action. But then this is where I tell you, question and observe your surrounding, especially observe yourself and how you react to these information. Going back to lust is a problem, as how most of society will tell you is a problem. Look at all the wealthy fucking people in the world. My favorite is Elon and Bezos because they're pretty funny. But Elon, bro, he got a fucking army of kids and he has a lot of wives. All right, there's an episode with him and Joe Rogan where he says, a lot of his time is spent on sex and it's a lot of waste time. Think about that. All right, they can reach the level of success they have without having to worry about, oh yes, lust is a bad thing. It's not. It's built in human nature, but they're not, thinking that there's something wrong with them. So they're able to just accept it and move on and build great things with their time. Also, look at Bezos. All right, bro. After his divorce, he's now jacked the fuck up and he's rolling with a baddie. Think again, is lust really bad? I don't know. You tell me. At the end of the day, all of these wealthy people, they have an idea about themselves. They want to create an impact of some sort for the mass or society at scale. And because of that, they become who they are. Ultra wealthy people. If you look at it, they're super fine with the 7 deadly sin. Some of them has a lot of greed. Some of them has a lot of pride. And a lot of them, well, they have a lot of lust. Again, going back to the point where they don't see it as a problem. It doesn't have to be a problem if you don't make a problem. For those of you who are still at the bottom right now, you're like, I have such a big problem with lust. I play with myself so much. I spend so much time fantasizing. Number 1, I recommend you don't think of it as a problem. It doesn't have to be a thing. All right, get over it. What do you need to do right now? Is it you need to go out, practice your social skill? Maybe you don't look that good. Maybe you should take care of your looks for a bit. Once you can get to the top of the mountain, make progress in wherever you want to make progress, then you could say, hey, maybe I can abandon my pursuit of lust because it's just a waste of time. But until then, if you make it a big deal, it's always going to be a big deal and you always start moving forward. I think the pinnacle of humanity was Marcus Aurelius. He could have indulged in any of the 7 deadly sins just because he was an emperor. He had so much money, he had so much access to the top tier woman. But he chose, a life of purpose and stoicism. In an ideal world, right? We're a lot like Marcus Aurelius. We can say no to our feelings and ignore them, despite, having temptations all over the place. But we don't live in a perfect world. A lot of what we do, We gotta come to terms that it's not as black and white as people make it out to be. And from that point, you can make a lot of progress because you start to make your own truth. And to really make progress in self-improvement, you gotta activate that ability to synthesize things and think for yourself. Because your problems might not be the same as mine, might not be the same as the next viewer that watched this video. So come from that perspective. Now, I do want to leave you with this idea. Have you had enough experience and taste all there is to taste in life to know if something is a problem? If you think lust is a problem and you're still in your room like me jerking off, is there really a problem? Or is the problem you not making a move so you can have better experiences with girls? Because why play with yourself when you have the ability to go out, talk to people, talk to girls, and have a good time? At the end of the day, even if you're not, getting laid, at least you're developing reference experience that you're not destined to be alone. At least when I look like this, man, I felt like there was nobody out there for me. But then again, you see all of these evidence that I have in front of you. It's not hard to get reference experience like this. I told myself I'll just work and, whatever heartbreak that I go through, I'll just plow through them because I know eventually I'll get a good experience. And, that's where we ended up. So anyways, man, I hope you found that useful and I'll see you next time. Oh, that was kind of weird. I'll see you next time.